Over $200,000 worth of storage devices, computers, and even sports cards are now amongst the things confirmed to have been stolen at the recent Panini burglary. Now, this is, pretty alarming for a few reasons, and the information that has come to light in the last 12 to 24 hours is that your data as a customer is very much at risk of being breached. Now, this shouldn't come as a surprise for many of you because we discussed this in my video about 12 days ago when this news first dropped. Essentially, I talked to the need for you as a customer to go there and change your password immediately, because if these individuals were so targeted to go to Panini offices and break down certain walls and to be very specific with what they were trying to steal, it meant that your data might be at risk. Now, to give you some context, in case you haven't seen this video, essentially Panini's offices in Texas were broken into during the May 26th long weekend. And these guys went in, broke down certain walls in the building, took very specific things, and some of those things were storage devices and network devices, like I said. Now, the thing so alarming about this whole situation is that now we have, $200,000 confirmed to have been stolen, storage devices confirmed, network devices confirmed to have been stolen, and Panini have remained silent with regards to telling you as a customer that you guys should or should not be worried. They've just been, zip shut the whole time, which is utterly freaking insane in my opinion. Now, this breaking news today came to me from Sports Card News, aka Sports Card Radio, and then also Sports Collectors Daily. As you can see here, Sports Card Radio confirmed $200,000 in damage and property loss is now confirmed, plus cards were also stolen. If we check out the article from Sports Collectors Daily, they clarify a few different things. They basically say that $60,000 across 4 storage servers, so valued across the 4 storage servers, is confirmed amongst the things stolen as well. Now, what is very, interesting about this is when this news first broke, I think Panini estimated only like 6 to 10 grand worth of stuff may have been stolen, and it wasn't very clear on what was stolen. We just know what was broken into. Now, given that storage devices were stolen and potentially your customer data is at risk, and these guys knew about it 12 days ago, why haven't they said anything? Amongst the other things that were stolen, multiple storage devices, so maybe hard drives and things like that, shells, I'm not sure what that means, and additional electronic equipment worth a further $100,000 or more than. The thing that's also pretty alarming here is that Sports Collectors Daily did ask an expert. They've basically said they've stolen these specific things, they've stolen hard drives, they've stolen storage devices. What do you think they're trying to do? Do they want your data? The expert basically says, yes, they are after the data 100%. Like, outside looking in, that's a pretty basic assumption to make, right? You can't begrudge anyone for coming to that conclusion, but it's very, very concerning. As is also noted down the bottom, the company says walls at the facility sustained $12,000 in damage. So the network server walls, I guess, is what they were. And then multiple sets of office keys and 2 sets of keys for a Mercedes Sprinter van, as well as a reciprocating saw. Now, this whole thing is crazy in my opinion, because we've got, storage devices stolen, potential customer data at risk. Why haven't Panini come out and said anything to you as a customer? Now, I think, as I said in my video a few weeks ago, this information from Panini should be being stored, offshore. So it shouldn't be at risk here because it should be stored on a cloud server. And to give some of my new viewers some clarification, I work as an external auditor. I audit these big businesses, banks, insurance companies, all that sort of stuff. So I understand, policies and procedures that, should be around things like this, like data security and data privacy and all that sort of stuff. So my brain tells me that's where this stuff is going, right? It's going offshore, it's protected. But if it's not, and your customer data is at risk, and Panini haven't said anything to you, that's just crazy. And the fact also that it might not be at risk does not mean that Panini shouldn't come out and say something. Given that this happened 12 days ago, and maybe they don't want to comment on certain things, they should at a minimum come out to us as customers and say, you know what, guys, storage devices were stolen, but your stuff is not at risk. Or if you're still unsure whether it's at risk or not, why aren't you updating your customer base? You need to tell people that their things could be compromised. And some of you might say, well, what's the big deal? Well, privacy and personal data is very, very important, and thieves can do a heck of a lot of damage to you as an individual by getting access to that information. So if you are a Panini customer and you are yet to change your password, please go ahead and do that right now. It might already be too late and might not even be a problem in the first place, but why take the risk? If you haven't done it yet, you're a little bit silly. Now, things like redemptions could also be impacted here. If you've got redemptions waiting for you as a customer, and then you basically log that in your account and somebody now gets access to your password and they ship the card to them instead, that's also a real possibility here. One of the other things we talked to as being potential tinfoil hat theory was that maybe this is a disgruntled former employee, maybe it's fanatics and a competitor trying to get access to this information. I think that stuff's a little tinfoil, but it's entirely possible. The thing that I think might be the most plausible about this whole thing is that you might have a crime syndicate involved here, and they're wanting to get access to these storage devices in order to understand, the distribution of hits amongst Panini products. Now, people continually sort of push back on this, right? When it comes to hot product and breakers getting inserts and hot boxes and all that sort of stuff. I've always found that logic ridiculous, how they don't think it's a thing that Panini tracks. Panini can definitely have this information somewhere. Being that I work in an industry where I understand policies and procedures, I'd be shocked if they don't have something stored somewhere, especially for hand-packed freaking product, because we see it go to people all the freaking time. So I think it's entirely possible. So with that mindset that it is possible, you can't say it's entirely far-fetched for an individual to go there to break into this place to get access to very certain things, right? They stole storage devices. They were very targeted with what they stole, right? They didn't go there specifically just to steal cards. They went there to steal storage devices. That storage device might contain, the distribution of hits amongst certain boxes. And if they want to get access to that, they've stolen 60 grand worth of servers. But look at the prices of cards these days. If you can work out where certain hits are, that could net you millions of dollars in profit, if not more. Because cards are just crazy these days. I just think it's, an utterly insane situation. I just cannot comprehend how Panini have remained silent on this thing. So again, this is a very quick video. I just wanted to put it out there today because I imagine Sports Car Radio are probably going to talk to this before me or even after me in more detail. The thing that I want you to do right now, if you are a customer of Panini, change your freaking password. If you've got redemptions waiting there, double check that in the system, your information is still correct and it hasn't been changed to somebody else. Like, this is a really big problem. And like I said, from a risk and procedure perspective, Panini should have come out and said to customers by now, guys, don't worry. This is not even a possibility of your stuff being hacked. Your customer data is safe. Don't worry about it. We're going to look into this. This is what's happening. But the fact, that hasn't happened makes me wonder, well, why haven't they done that? Do they even care for you as a customer? Is it a problem? Is it not a problem? Why haven't they said anything? They need to say something to give you confidence back as a customer. This is just freaking insane in my opinion, and it's like unacceptable. And some of you might not see the big deal with this sort of stuff being stolen potentially. It might not be at risk, but let's just assume it is. When it comes to customer data, there is so much regulation across the world for this sort of stuff. It doesn't matter if you're a listed company or not. There is so much regulation. These businesses can get into hot water very, very freaking quickly if this kind of information is compromised. Now, again, it might not be an issue, but I don't really care if it's an issue or not. You need to change your password. Change your freaking password. The information that we've got in the last 12 to 24 hours confirms they were targeting data and storage devices. And like I said a little bit earlier, they've asked people, what would you be trying to steal by targeting these specific things? As the article did state, they want your data. So please change your password. It might not be an issue, but I'd rather you guys spend 2 seconds changing your password than getting burned down the line. So as always, thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and I will see you in the next one.